Futureville.
Greetings, Macadine family. I am, as you know, Camille Shabazz of Macadine, and I'm hoping that all is well with you and your family, your finances, your health, etc. What I would like to talk to you about today, as you can see by the illustrations, I'm going to be talking about breakfast cereal. And more importantly, in the forefront, I'm going to talk about Quaker Oats and the absolute destructive powers of this devastating meal that people take all day long in America. All day long. Somebody in America is eating oat something. And this has been heralded by the health community as being some type of savior food, when in reality, Quaker Oats, these other breakfast cereals, Kellogg's brand flakes, and all the cereals, 99% of the cereals on the market are aimed at your physical, mental, and health destruction. And I'm going to prove what I'm saying just briefly. So, in oats, you have 30 plus what they call mycotoxins, which are funguses. Now, these mycotoxins are very, very deadly. And I'm just going to deal with just 3 of those that are found in Quaker Oats. And by the way, in 1785, in the Webster's Dictionary, oats was described as a food for horses that was eaten by the people of Scotland and sometimes England. But for the most part, globally, oats is a food for animals. And what's crazy is it's a bad food for them too. Because all the studies show that when piglets and different other animals, horses, are given oats, it has several what you would call bad side effects. One of which is it prevents what they call spermagenesis in pigs. It actually attacks the Leydig cells, which are the cells in our testicles that actually create sperm. So, in oats, these mycotoxins, you have 3 major ones. And this first one I'm going to deal with is called zearalenone. Zearalenone, aka ZEA. Very, very destructive. Actually, it's a estrogen. It's a negative estrogen that's found in oats, zearalenone. And like the other mycotoxins, it attacks the reproductive system of both men and women. But we're dealing with men because the main attack of all of these cereals, of all of these so-called good and bad foods, is for our destruction and to keep us at a low vibration, which will keep us in fear and actually create in us what they call learned helplessness. Because after the failed diet, which actually destroys the brain and the body and the organism's ability to strive against opposition, once that starts to break down, then you're going to go to the psychologist and do what most Americans are doing today, and that's getting on what they call psych meds, which is another terrible thing to do. But back to the oats. And as far as my board is concerned, these are my personal notes. So if you can't see what's on the board, that's because it's really not meant for you to see what's on the board. But if you can sneak a peek, all you're doing is looking at my personal notes that I've been taking. But so back to the oats and these poison ingredients, mycotoxins that they have inside of them. We was talking about the zearalenone, but then you have another one called okra toxin. Yes, like the vegetable okra, but it's spelled without the K. Okra toxin A. Okra toxin A. This is another destroyer. It's what you call a endocrine disruptor. Causes all kind of havoc in the body. I'm giving you these names so that you can look it up for yourself. Okra toxin A, zearalenone, and the third one I'm going to deal with is called the DON, D-O-N, and it's deoxynivalenol. Deoxynivalenol. Yeah, all these big names, but they don't tell you nothing about these ingredients as they advertise these deadly cereals on TV to give to your kids and to take for yourself. So, what this does is it inhibits protein synthesis. For those of you who are big on protein and thinking that these liars are telling you that these are full of good proteins, no, they're full of protein inhibitors. Now, before I go even deeper into the cereals, we're going to just backtrack a little bit and go into who it is and what it is that they spray on the cereal before we even get it in this state that it is made in before it even gets processed. You have this weed killer that's the #1 weed killer that's used in America and in 130 countries, and that's Roundup. It's called Roundup, which is a very dangerous, toxic carcinogen. And it's a brother by the name of Dwayne Johnson, you can look him up, who just recently won his case in San Francisco in 2018, where originally he sued Monsanto, who makes the weed killer that is used, called Roundup, in America and, like I said, in 130 countries. Well, he was just a groundskeeper. You can look it up, in San Francisco. And over the years, from using Roundup and being around it, he contracted what Roundup causes in those who are exposed to the weed killer, and that is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And his case is a Supreme Court landmark case because he's the first one to win. And he settled for $39 million, but he actually won for $200, I believe, $89. But you can look him up, and it tells you how dangerous this Roundup is. That's all over these cereals and all over all the crops of America that we're taking in, and we wonder why cancer is on the rise and it's not stopping. There you have it. Starting with the children every morning, giving them their dose of carcinogens and poisons. So Roundup, which has glyphosate in it, the carcinogen glyphosate, is on top of all these cereals, on top of all these problems that these cereals have. And then they become our problems. So, and there's another thing. They talk about gluten. And I was telling you how bad gluten is for the body. It's terrible. It's like putting an atomic bomb in your body. It's just so bad on all levels. But what they don't tell you, like they do with all the cereals, they just tell you the nutrients. But all of these cereals have what they call anti-nutrients, which I was talking about, the phytates and the lectins that come with it also, that go inside the body and do what? Wreak havoc. Destroy your thought process. Just breaks you down. So what I'm learning and discovering is that all of this stuff that we're eating, all these foods, the oats, the wheat, the rye, the barley, all of them have these hidden glutens in them. Wheat is not the only food with gluten in it. Oats have gluten in it, and it's called adenine. Rye has gluten in it, and it's called secalin. And barley has gluten in it, and it's called hordein. So these are all these hidden enemies that they don't tell us about. all of these anti-nutrients that they don't tell us about on purpose, because it's going to serve their purpose economically, financially. So I've talked about the major toxins in the cereals. But there's one other thing that I need to talk about, and that is what is also number 2 when it comes to what's being sprayed on our crops, which about 2 years ago I put some information by a scientist on the Macadine site who actually was fired from his job for telling the truth about atrazine and what it does, especially to the male body. Why this atrazine is capable of taking female or male frogs, male species of life, and changing it literally into female life. And this atrazine is the number 2 pesticide that's used on our crops in America. Second to Roundup, which is causing us cancer. Now, you're getting caused cancer on one hand, but then with the atrazine, you're being made into a woman. 80 million pounds of atrazine is pumped on American soils a year. And like high fructose, it is cheap and it yields more crops, but it causes boys to turn into girls. And that's by design, as we've been telling you in the Macadine for the last 5 years. The goal by the WHO, the World Health Organization, going fast, and the government, they're working together to feminize you, to destroy your will and your body so that you can be a manageable marionette in their hands. And the vaccination is the cherry on top. Once you take that vaccination and they're in you from a nanotechnology standpoint, you're done. So all these things, the mycotoxins, and as far as the atrazine is concerned, 31 out of 45 of the oat cereals are full of these chemicals. They're full of these chemicals, the atrazine and the glyphosate. So with you eating this every day, what chance do you have to be healthy? What chances are you to be a healthy being eating this garbage all day? And this is just one little branch of it. This shit goes so deep, it's mind-blowing. And people ask me, what do I eat? I'm trying to eat as less as I possibly can, coupled with the nutrition that I need. That's all you need is nutrition. You don't need all the garbage that comes with it. So I'm trying to eat as less as I can, and as we teach in the Macadine, come as close as you can to being a breatharian. So those of you who are asking me questions about the Macadine, that's telling me that you're not reading, you're not studying, and you're not listening to what it is that we're saying to you. Because it's all rooted in what you put in your body and what you prevent from going into your temple called the body. So leave these cereals alone. Leave the wheat bread alone. Leave the brown rice, the soy, the beans, the seeds, and the nuts alone, and you'll come out of the unhealthy, diseased state that you're in. But you got to make the sacrifice. You got to sacrifice yourself and allow that part of you that has become your enemy to die. That gluttonous part of you that is led by the 260 taste buds in your tongue. You got to become the Lord and God of your life. And you do it by controlling your fork and what you put into your temple. And these things right here that I've been telling you about, got to get rid of them. It's garbage. It's killing you, and it's killing your kids, and it's killing your future. Wake up. Peace. More later.